And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Vadoran Gardens. I didn't actually know anything about this game. I was out looking at games. I saw the cover looked fantastic. I looked at the back, and you're putting pathway cards on top of each other. That's a mechanism I like, where you put cards on top of each other and try to grow areas. That's a neat concept, so I was certainly jazzed to try this one out. Let's take a look at Vadoran Gardens. You're going to have two paths of cards that are out here, and there's going to be two more than a number of players. So this is set up for a 3-player game. And what players are going to be doing is you're going to start with one of your tokens on these cards. And each round of the game, on a player's turn, they're going to have a couple cards in their hand already. You're going to take the card that your token is on, starting with the left card, so the green player goes first here. They'll take this card, add it to their hand. They'll then pick one of the cards and play it in the path in front of them. However, that card must have this symbol at the top. They must follow the lesson. So when I look at the cards here, they're in my hand. I can play this one because it has that symbol, or I can play this one. It has all 3 symbols, but I cannot play this card here. Sometimes a lesson will have multiple symbols in it, and there are various lessons. Sometimes they'll say you can play any card, but you have to flip it upside down. So you're going to be following these lessons. Then, after you do that, you're going to put your token on a card in the bottom row and then move on. Once all the cards from the top row have been taken, the 2 cards that have not been taken slide over. We add 3 more cards to that row, and then we discard the lesson and add a new lesson. And then next turn we'll do the bottom row, moving tokens to the top, etc. And when the lessons run out here, then you know it's the last round of the game. And then you'll go to scoring with the paths that you've placed in front of you. The first card that a player takes is just going to play in front of them like this. If it shows a lost item on it, like this one here shows a penguin, you'll take that and place it in front of you. Each card that you play after that needs to cover up 1 square. So maybe I want to cover up that square. I can do that. However, there's a height limit of 5, and you can see I've just reached a height limit. So my next card can't go up. It would have to stay the same or go down. So maybe I would just stay the same like this and keep adding cards. Here you'll notice when I play this one on my next turn, I'm going to get another lost item, a shovel. At the end of the game, players are going to be scoring points. If you have a lost item and a need for it, like this token here needs it, so I would get 5 points for that. You're then also going to compare any group of connected of the same color. In this case, brown is my big group here. And I'm going to look, is there at least 3 items? If so, I get a point for every square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's pretty cool. And in fact, if you manage to get one of these 7 tokens in an area, you'll get an extra 7 points. But note that it's very difficult to pull that off. This green area here is 4, but I only have 2 items in that area, so I'm not going to be able to score for it. You need at least 3 items. If I had it like this, 3 items, then I would score 1 point for every spot there. There's also going to be some bonus cards you're going to draw from 3 different piles over the course of the game, and this you'll get bonus points and put one of your tokens on it. If I get 3 of the same item in a green area, if I get 5 different items in a blue area, if I get 2 of an item in one brown area and 2 of one item of the same 2 items in another brown area, and you'll get this many points as you score these. And there's different cards of each type, and you'll be picking one of each type randomly at the beginning of the game. The desert areas are never going to score. So that's it. You get points for finding lost items and finding a spot that will take that lost item. This penguin here, I would need to put this one out. Points for your areas as long as there's 3 objects in them, and then points for the bonus cards. The wooden pieces for this game are fantastic, with little imprintings on them. Of course, they do make the classic mistake of having a player color matched at one of the lost items. I have no idea why that happened, but they do look really great. The cards themselves are good. My only complaint maybe about the cards is we'd sit there and go, is that an item? No, it's not an item. Well, I'm glad that they have this extra stuff, but sometimes it was distracting, and sometimes you had to look closely to see if 2 items were the same or not. But that's very minor. For the most part, the card quality is really good. Everything looked really nice. The lesson cards themselves, They're pretty obvious. These cards, you have to figure out what some of them did. Like this says, put 2 cards on top of each other, forming one giant card. But once you figure out what they do, they're pretty simplistic. The whole thing is a really nice production and fits very nicely in the small box that comes with the game. There's a lot of interesting ideas in this game. Everyone is kind of drafting cards in a sense. You put your token out. Not only where you put your token would determine your order that you pick the card next turn, but you're also going to take that card and possibly be able to use it. So you want to get lost items that you can then put on the matching things. You want to get big areas that match the spots that you already have out there. You want to get cards that match the lessons so that you can legally put it on the table. So I think that part of the game works pretty well. Where the game kind of hits me in a way that I don't enjoy is the restrictions. Games need rules, right? You need rules to follow through. The restrictions in this one felt, well, for lack of a better term, restrictive. You can only have your thing 5 or higher. I get that, but that means a lot of times you're going to put a card out, well, I got to put it here. And you're following the lesson, which means I want to play a card with a water symbol on it. Well, I only have one of those cards, so I guess that's the card I'm playing this round. And then, of course, you're trying to match stuff up. And it's really kind of unfun when you're building like a nice pathway of water. Okay, I have 2 symbols. I just need one more symbol. And the cards that are there and the cards and the lessons, the way they came up, just means you can't put a card there to get more points. And those 7s, while they're neat, you have to really go out of your way to put them down or hope that the next card that comes up lets you match it and put it, because they're usually at the end of a card. And so you're going to have to place, for example, let me show you on this one here. This card here, there's a water 7 here. So the only way you're going to be able to get water in is if somehow you have a card that you can place that is going to put water on top of it. There's no other way that that's going to work at all. Because anything else will, because this card can't go on top, this card is going to be the one underneath. And so while that's okay and that works, you just got to hope that that card's out there, you don't get the 7 points. And so for that reason, there's a lot of thinking in this game, but in the end of the day, you don't have any really interesting choices. I like when the lesson says turn a card upside down and place it anywhere you want. That makes those 7s a little easier to get sometimes. But other than that, it just feels like there's too many rules. And there really isn't. It's have 5 levels or more. You got to play a card that matches the lesson. You got to play it face up. And yet, even though there's only a few rules, it feels like there's one too many. And it feels like the whole game is about working in this really confined area. And you build this cool pathway that may or may not score points. And I never felt like the person who won each of the games I was involved with played better than everyone else. It just felt like things just worked out for them. This game could be very light or it could be heavy and crunchy. The problem is it plays lightly, I feel, but the work you put into it is a little heavier and crunchier than it should be. So you need to decide, you're going to be a heavy game, you're going to be a light game. I think this game is trying to be heavy, but it actually comes out much lighter at the end of the day. Which is unfortunate because, again, it's a really nice production. There's a lot of cool things going on with it. But unfortunately, it's not one that I really enjoyed playing that much. It looks great. It looks fun. But I felt like I had too many. Each time it was my turn, I was like, well, I guess this is the card I got to play, even though I don't really want to. I found a lost item. Hopefully I find a matching thing. And there are other games that do this very same thing. There are other card games that do the same thing, and I think a faster, better way. Can't really recommend it. Sorry. Dice Tower Judgment, just a bit too restrictive for me.